into the ice, it is moved into a mechanical sorter or something that will handle it in a very fast way so that it doesn't, the fish quality is not compromised. All this infrastructure is not there, and so the blue food that we want is compromised. The blue food, when you talk about the blue food, you're talking about safety and availability and accessibility, as well as having the nutrition. Fish has got quite a lot of nutrients. Fish is a wonder food. It's got micronutrients, macronutrients. But when it is compromised in this way, then we rather, instead of eating quality food, we are eating bad health. Because some of them comes up with histamines and other chemicals naturally, other enzymes naturally, when they are getting spoiled, that are not good for us. Some of our people also compromise the quality of fish by adding food color and others that are not good, because Ghanaians like red fish. Some also put formalin in ice to keep the ice for long and all that. We really need to address these issues, and the infrastructure that are being built for us, the fish landing sites, the fish processing plants, etc., should be maintained and well looked after. And it is at this point that I believe in the private public partnership arrangements to get this sort of thing sorted out. Thank you very much, and I'll come back.
Thank you. Just a follow-up. So, you know, I don't know if you've been around the Korle Lagoon areas. So just opposite the Korle Lagoon is a place that we normally have keep fit clubs training. But they also go ahead and dry fishes there. I'm sure you've seen it.
I've seen it.
And our belief is that by drying that fish there, it's going to make it very tasty. I mean,
yeah,
so
that's what they believe, yes.
Well, so I don't know. Are you asking us not to proceed in doing that? Because, I mean, we even go and play football there. Just opposite it is the liquid waste dump site.
Yes. We would like fish. The best way is for fish to be dried on raised racks. Raised racks, not on the floor. On the floor, it's subject to insects, rodents, and even humans walking on them, which compromises the quality. But we have raised racks. To the local people, if you dry on the floor, it dries up very fast, and it gives it some peculiar taste.
Yeah.
Peculiar taste, which when you put in your stew is nice, but you might be taking in some bad, certain diseases that will later manifest in your life. Later, it compromises your longevity. So rather, we encourage people to dry them in raised racks or even covered raised racks. So insects will not go and lay their eggs in the fish, so that we'll have the blue food that we're talking about.
Very well, thank you very much. Dr. Corentin, I mean, if you're minded, there's this conversation about matriculture expansion. I do not know if you want to give us further briefing on that. What expansion? Matriculture, Dr. Prof. Sorry, mariculture. Mariculture expansion. Sorry, mariculture expansion. I don't know if there is any conversation from your end as to whether or not Ghana is considering mariculture and what we are doing about mariculture.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, anytime we hear about aquaculture, people start thinking about fish farming in freshwater environment. But it is on record that 80% of the fish that is farmed actually happens in the oceans. But to do multiculture requires very specific kind of environment. When you have open ocean, as we have here, multiculture is not an easy thing to do.
Mariculture, you mean?
Yeah, mariculture is
Yes.
not an easy thing to do. When you have countries with islands and with fjords and all that, as you find, say, in Norway and some other places, it's very easy to do multiculture because you have to have this in cages, you know, and all that. But it's not a bad idea as long as you're able to choose the kind of species that you need to handle and the right environment. So I would say that multiculture is not a bad thing. It's something worth trying, but you need to think carefully about the kind of species that you want to
Very
culture.
well. Prof, you have any comments on that? You want to introduce further on mariculture, and if you have any comments to make on that?
Yes, mariculture, the farming in the sea, farming of fish in the sea.
So what's the difference between mariculture and aquaculture?
Aquaculture is a broader term for raising fish in water,
Very well.
And then we have mariculture, which is raising fish in the sea.
So this mariculture is only limited to the sea,
Mainly the sea
Very
or
well.
the marine environment.
marine environment.
Marine environment. So other marine environments are the estuaries and then the lagoons, if it's possible. So basically, I think that it is possible, but to date, we don't have the technology yet. We've not had a successful technology. There have been efforts at raising shrimps, efforts at raising oyster, efforts at raising prawns and others, but they've been successful only to a certain extent. These organisms, especially the shrimps, are organisms that have amphibiotic life cycle. They live in